Silverstorm Media TV. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Silverstorm Media TV. Let's talk. Hi, I'm Caroline Stevens and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. So this week we've got a really special guest, singer, songwriter, or should I rephrase that, hit songwriter. I mean, you'll know him when you see him, and you'll know him when I say, Martin Bell, welcome to Let's Talk.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Just like everybody else, sitting about waiting to go to work,
I know. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been such a tough year for everybody, and I have been moaning for some time. I've got to admit, I felt that sort of we'd been forgotten, if you like. The music industry had really been forgotten, but I sort of given up moaning when we shut down around about, what was it, 15th of December. I think I'd done some gigs at the start of December, and I did 26 gigs last December and 21 radio shows. And I think I did 8 at the start of December. Started to moan about it, that we're shut down again, and then realised we're in a bit of a pickle now.
We are.
And so I've stopped moaning because I'm here, I'm fit and I'm healthy. I say I'm fit and I'm healthy. I've put on about a stone since I've been sitting indoors.
Yeah, but hasn't everybody? Everybody.
Exactly.
What else can we do? What else can we do?
I train every day normally up until I'd train. Then I had a national radio show for 2 years, so I'd go and do that, and then I'd come home and then probably go and do a gig 3 or 4 times a week. And literally, we got to lockdown. I think at the start of that lockdown, the weather was so good. I didn't go to the David Lloyd for a long while, and I just drank wine and ate table.
I know,
wine,
it's ridiculous now. I mean, it's like David and I, same thing. I mean, I'm drinking this coffee now. Actually, I'm on a diet now. We decided, right, diet time. Yeah. Can't keep doing this. But normally, like 4 weeks ago, this coffee would have been with a plate full of biscuits or a croissant or a scone or something, But now it's just plain coffee. But everybody's the same. It's like crazy, isn't it? My family or friends will call me and say, hi, you okay? Yeah, on the phone. What are you doing? What you been doing? And we always have a standing joke. Oh, great. I went to Soho last night. Went for a Chinese, went to the Empire Ballrooms, Leicester Square. What did you do? Oh, I went dancing. We just make believe. It's just all jokes. But really, we're all doing sod all.
I've tried to, I must admit, I have got down with it. I got very depressed with it a little while back. And I'm not particularly a depressive person. I'm quite positive, and I'm sort of out there and always want to be doing something. But I did get really quite depressed, and the more I spoke to a few other musicians and singers and writers and producers, I was sort of saying, shall I jump in with you for a while? And we write some songs. Well, I can't have you up here. I can't. My wife, she won't have anyone here. She's worried, and
of course,
I had nowhere to go, and I figured that I was in the same boat as everybody else, and so the last sort of few weeks I've tried to get myself a bit more positive, thinking a bit more positive, because we will be back.
Of course we'll be back. Of course. I mean, this, we've got to be sensible and logical. This can't go on forever. It's not how it's going to be forever, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is vaccines now, more than one. There's quite a few different vaccines. It's going to take a time. We've got to be realistic. It's going to take time for everybody to be vaccinated. But, eventually we'll get through it. And eventually, I mean, I personally think that coronavirus is here to stay. It's not going to disappear. We're not going to eradicate it. It's going to become like another virus, like the flu virus. And we'll have to have jabs every year, like we have the flu jab. And that's how I think it's going to be. I don't think we're ever going to get back to 100% normality as it was before. But I think we will get back to some sort of, normal life. But, I've also been speaking to lots of musicians, and like you, you know, they're just thinking, shit, what am I going to do? You know, where am I going to get work from? What am I going to? It's a terrible situation, and we've been badly hit. The entertainment industry has been badly hit.
Do you know what I spoke to a few of the guys who sort of play with me. I won't mention their names, but some big session players who come and do some of the live gigs with me, and some of them are doing some mad jobs. I mean, one of them, he become a bin man for about a week, and he said,
crazy.
I couldn't do it. And a few others that are sort of, you know, driving around for Amazon and places like that and stuff like that, which I understand. But do you know what? I was quite lucky in the respect. I just bought a new house right at the start of lockdown, and previous to that, we'd built a house. We'd had a house that we I didn't build it. I could just about put a screw in the wall, but we had a house built, and we lived in that for a while, and we sold it, and then we bought this one just through lockdown. It needed loads of work, so I had my mind concentrated on that. So
you had something to do.
At least, the builders were here doing stuff, and once that had finished, that's when I started to sink. You know, there was a few gigs around about the end of August, bit of September. In fact, we did one corporate event out at Brands Hatch, and some of the guys who hadn't played for a long while, big players, they turned up, and I said, look, you know, this is the coup. This, I'm not being funny. There's not millions of money swimming around, but this is what everyone's going to get. And one of them cried. You know, he was in tears, and he said, this is the first bit of money that I've had since March.
Madness.
And I got choked, you know, and it just made you think how important this game is. Whether we're writing, singing, dancing, acting, whatever, this entertainment industry is important to the rest of the
it is. I mean, it's, you know, they say music makes the world go round. I mean, I know every industry has been affected, obviously. People who can't work.
I've got mates who are in construction.
Yeah, well, that's going, and there's certain people who work in offices that can still go to work with social distancing, but a lot of businesses have been affected. But what I was trying to say was, all those people that are still working, what do they normally like to do at the weekend? They go to a pub or a show, they see a concert, or, you know. So music is important to not only the musicians and artists themselves, but to people who can't sing a note but love music. You know, I mean, I remember a couple of months ago the government saying something that really threw me, that, oh, well, you know, it's bad for musicians, artists, groups, you can't work. Go and find another career. You know, find something new to do. Start a new career. I mean, you can't tell a musician who's got music in their soul to go and, you know, start a new career. What are we going to do?
Yeah. I've had some mates say, do you want to get involved in this with me? I go, for a period of time, I have been involved in other businesses. I've always dabbled a bit in property, and I ended up setting up a magazine a few years ago, and that lasted for about 7 years. And then I started a polo event. Don't ask me why I started a polo event, but that became quite big, and we sold it. But I always have done this. This is what I've done, you know. And it's from the age of 14, starting in a band and learning your craft, and this is what I do, you know. And as much as I get pulled sideways and think I'll do something else to earn a bit of money, this is where I am, really.
Yeah, it's been a tough time for everybody, especially for the entertainment industry and the hospitality industry. Really, really bad. But, you know, we will get out of it, and things, please God, will come back to, as I said, to some sort of normality. So let's talk a little bit about, Martin Bell, but then there was Bell and Spurling, wasn't there? Yeah. How is Johnny, by the way?
Johnny Spurling, he's okay. He's shielding a little bit with his mum. He's got quite an elderly mum. John's got a studio. Obviously, we've been Bell and Spurling now for 28 years.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
But I had a career before that. I had a quite a good solo career.
I remember even before that. I remember you doing a single with another guy. Was it Bell and Curtis, or Curtis Bell?
Yeah. Well, that's how we sort of started. We started at 14, and with myself and Jamie Nelson, who has gone on to become a big A&R man. You know, I
know Jamie.
Yeah, well, you know, Jamie, we had the band together. We started with two other guys at school, and me and Jamie played guitar and played the piano. So we wrote the songs. 4 of us set up a band, and we got a deal at 16, 17. and we did the Hippodrome when we couldn't even drive, and we thought we'd cracked it. We thought we were pop stars, and single went nowhere. And we tried, and then we got signed to Mickey Most when we were about 19. And we went to Rack Studios, which was just, again, we thought
I bet it was unbelievable. No, you're young kids in Rack Studios.
Yeah, we got free studio time at Rack, and he loved us. And myself and Jamie Nelson were writing some pretty good songs then. They were quite a bit different. They were poppy, but they were quite different. And then I think once it didn't work out with Mickey, we ended up with a manager called Mike Hedge, who was managing Squeeze at the time. And we recorded some more stuff. And then Jamie just said, "Do you know what? I want to be an A&R man." I'm going, "What?" And he said, "I don't want to be on stage. You love being on stage. You love singing. You loved it. I don't want to write anymore. I want to be in it." And I was so shocked. I was hurt. It was like it was like your wife leaving you.
Yeah, broken romance.
It was. And even though, the other two guys in the band, Bradley and Andy, and he went off, and obviously he's had a great career. He signed Kylie. He went to Kylie, and he's Lily Allen and Beverly Knight. And, me and Jamie speak quite often, every couple of months. And it's funny how he's that side of the fence and I'm this side of the fence. But, I've often taken stuff to him, and he wanted to sign us when the Sven Goran Eriksson song exploded. And it wasn't that I took pride in signing with Warner Brothers instead of EMI, but I just thought it was probably a bit too close to me working with him.
Again, probably.
But we've stayed friends. But myself and the other guy, which was Curtis, we went off and did our own thing for quite a few years, and then we got a pretty decent record deal. I'd done some soul tracks. I'd sung on some bits and pieces, and we got quite a hefty advance. And one of the singles that I wrote was with your cousin, Mitch Hiller.
I remember.
Yeah, which was Hold On. It's a real, sort of Marvin Gaye type track. That's where I was sort of heading down that vocally. And we wrote it, and Derek B, who was the rapper, who's sadly no longer with us, who was a great guy. Derek and Mitch came into the studio, and we done a couple of tracks, done our first TV shows, went and done a Live and Kicking on Saturday morning, and we done the James Wales show late at night, and a few other TVs. And it never really happened with that single. And then the record company said, "Look, I think we're going to give you enough money to do an album, to do it properly. You're going to throw some more money at you," which was great. And so I wanted to work with a producer called Gary Stevenson, who'd pretty much created Go West, and he worked with Rick Astley and Tony Hadley, and I think he'd done Bros as well. But he'd worked with singers, and I thought that would be good. So we went to. He's got an amazing studio near Oxford, and we was meant to spend 3 months there. I think it was meant to come to about 70 grand. It came to 120 grand, and we were there for 6 months. But we had such a great time.
I bet.
And we called in all the great musicians that we'd played, like Steve Sidwell, that I'd played with us in the younger days. But Gary got in the likes of Lance Ellington and Trevor Barry on bass. A lot of the band that are in the Strictly band now, Strictly Come Dancing. And we had some great musicians there. And then Rick Astley come up and done some backing vocals on the album, and Tony Hadley come up and done some bits. And it was just fantastic. And you just thought, this is it. Gotta crack it. First single comes out, nothing. Second single comes out, couple of TV shows, dives. And then we got dropped. And you just think, well, that's it for me.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm back to
it kind of makes you, that's happened to me a couple of times. It kind of makes you think, is it worth me keep doing this? Should I do something else? But you know what? It's a terrible time for artists when that happens. But you just got to pick yourself up and just carry on, and go on and do what you do. Because, as I said before, if it's in your heart and your soul, it's what you're going to do. It's regardless. I mean, I've had times when, rejection is horrible in any form, way or manner. But for a musician and a songwriter, I think it's a bit worse, rejection, because it's, it is really soul destroying. And I've had times when I just said, that's it.
you don't know where you're going to go.
But exactly, because you think, that's it, I'm not doing this no more, I can't take it no more. And then, like, 3 weeks later, you're like sitting at the piano and writing songs again, and it's natural. It's a natural thing. So how did you get from all of that? Sorry, how did you get from all of that to Bell and Spurling?
Well, Johnny Spurling was sort of doing the live work with me anyway. He was doing the sort of pubs and clubs, and we had this sort of act together. We started off just sort of doing Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder tracks, and John's got a big voice as well. He's a great harmonizer. So that's what happened. I was doing that off the side of doing the album in Oxford. That's how mad it was. And then it started to get a bit funny. We were doing this. We were doing a gig. We used to do this gig in sort of Enfield way called Rifles.
I know Rifles. I've gigged there myself.
Well, it's the funniest place. There used to be two guys called Tommy and Georgie who run it. They were like sort of, hello mate, how you doing? It was like sort of old sort of gangsters, but we loved them. And so we'd do a gig every Sunday, and it was the same time every Sunday, right? You're singing the same songs to the same people. And after about a year, we started changing all the lyrics to the songs, and it started becoming funny. And then it just become to the point of stupidity, but it was funny.
Kind of like a natural progression, really, into that.
Yeah, and purely because we couldn't be bothered to sing the songs anymore. I remember singing a song. I remember us doing Masquerade. Are we really? Sort of that. Yeah. And he said, let's sing it out of tune, completely out of tune. All right. And we started singing this song. Are we really happy here with this? And it was everywhere, right? And we're both crying. And there was a fella at the bar. We finished, and there was a fella at the bar, and he turned around and he went, best song I've heard you sing, that, boys. this is what we're dealing with, And so it got worse and worse every week. So we turned into a bit of a comedy act, if you like. And then we'd throw an Al Green song in and sing it properly. Or we'd do New York State of Mind, a Billy Joel song, and really give it some, not change the words. And,
no.
And
I remember seeing the pair of you. Oh God, I can't remember where it was now. I used to manage a girl group, My Girls, and we did a gig with you with Mike Reid.
Yes. And
I remember watching the act from the wings. I mean, you guys were just hilarious.
Oh, that's amazing. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious.
We did a tour with Mike Reid.
Yeah, and the girls were on it.
Well, I remember that. Because then we got the Eve Club, which was our first sort of thing. It was called the Eve Club, Tuesday night live with Bell and Spurling in Regent Street. And I remember My Girls being at that, of our launch.
Exactly, they were. But we did a few gigs with you, the girls. It was great.
You've really I mean, that first gig that we did at the Eve Club was, strangely enough, we'd sort of auditioned a few acts. It was going to be like a variety show.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday night in the middle of Regent Street, this old club. It was in a basement, and it had the dance floor that would light up when you walked on it. It was really odd, and it had quite a lot of history. This club, I think that Sinatra had been there, and it had all pictures of everyone who'd been there over the years. And so we did the first night, and we had to get in a comedian. We got Jimmy Carr in as our comedian, and we gave Jimmy 60 quid. That's what we used to, we done it for 6 weeks. We paid Jimmy 60 quid, and Milton Jones, who's quite a big name now as well, £60 each. The Fabber Girls, who just come out of Beyond again, Susie and Zoe, really good singers. We got them to do the ABBA tribute, but then me and Johnny as Benny and Beyond. Which
that must have been hilarious.
It was hilarious, and we turned up and we said, "We're sorry, we were a little bit late," and we dressed up, and it was just a funny little act. But the main thing, Robbie Williams turned up to see us that night. It was the strangest night ever. Robbie Williams had heard that me and Johnny were singing sort of Rat Pack songs. We were doing Mac the Knife and and stuff. And I think via Steve Sidwell and another mutual friend, I think he'd heard about us and came down to see us. And one of those launch nights that you just go, it's great. Somebody from Capital Radio turned up. Some guys from Talk Sport that we'd been doing some interviews on there, Hawksby and Jacobs, they all turned up with their team. And literally from that night, that very first night of us doing that, I think it was within 3 months we were on Top of the Pops.
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
It's really weird because I thought just a couple of weeks before that gig, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to go, where my career is going. God, I wish I'd stayed at Goldman Sachs when I was a kid. I was about 16, you know. I gave it up to do this, and I thought, why have I done this? And literally, we'd written the Sven song for Hawksby and Jacob show in Talk Sport, and it was 11 o'clock at night. Andy Jacobs phoned me up and said, "Oh, you're coming on our show tomorrow."
Lovely guy, Andy Jacobs. Lovely guy.
We was emailing each other this morning, strangely enough. But he saw a video of myself and Johnny singing at the Circus Tavern, and then it sort of cut into the middle of these big vocal songs that we were doing. We do these little comedy sketches, and he was producing fantasy football for Badil and Skinner.
I remember.
And he phoned me up and he said, I don't know what it is, but you two have got something different. Can you come in and see me? So we had a meeting, and he said, look, I've just started a radio show on Talk Sport. I'd love you to come and tell some funny stories about your gigs and some of the people that you work with, which we did. And we went in with a funny song about Gordon Strachan, just as a token. There's a funny little song. It's only a verse and a chorus. They played it. It was football related. We'd never written a football song. And they went, oh, that's great. Can you do another one next month? So the next month, Andy phones me at 11 o'clock at night. He said, oh, you're on the show tomorrow. You couldn't do one about Sven-Goran Eriksson, could you? And I said, oh, okay. I wrote the lyrics that night at 11 o'clock, phoned Johnny. He got in the studio, put a tune down. We got in at around about 10 o'clock in the morning, made up a couple of verses and choruses, took it, was on the radio at 3 o'clock that afternoon on Hawksby and Jake. They played it, and everyone loved it.
I know, amazing.
It wasn't until we'd done the Eve Club that a guy called Andy Turner, who was running Capital Gold, saw us and said, could you write one of those Sven songs for our show? So we said, yeah, look, we're going off to Marbella to do some gigs. We haven't got anyone. Just take that one and play that one for this week. Little did we know, he gave it to Chris Tarrant on the Monday morning. We were in Marbella. Chris Tarrant played the Sven song on Capital. You can't get that now. You can't give it to a DJ now.
No, you can't.
And he played it on the Monday. He played it on the Tuesday. We flew home on a Wednesday. And a friend of mine said, I'm telling you, Chris Tarrant's been playing that Sven thing you wrote. And I said, no, he can't have done it. It was for Capital Gold. And Andy Turner, I phoned him up and he said, yeah, he's been playing it. By the Friday, we were front page of the Sun saying Sven song to be number one. And it's just, you know what I'm saying, that career of trying to be that, and that didn't work out, and you end up with that.
I know, it's a strange old bit. It's what they say. It's a funny old thing, It's a funny old business. Let's. I've got a video clip that I want to play now. Okay. That you sent me, which is Bell and Spurling. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. So, yeah, I mean, everybody's going to just roll up watching this. Believe me, you're going to love it. So here is a little video clip of, well, not little. It's catchy quite a bit, about a minute and a half. 2 minutes you're going to enjoy this. So here's Bell and Spurling in action.
Bell and Spurling.
Oh, Bell and Spurling. Bell and Spurling. Bell and Spurling.
Bell and Spurling.
When I was with them, they did Golden Balls, which was massive. Sven, bigger.
Sven-Goran Eriksson.
Bell and Spurling, yeah, love them. Oh, they've been great over the years, and
He's got Jimmy Savile Zecker, so where'd he get a lovely girlfriend?
They had become major TV stars and had sold over 300,000 records. But there's always a price to pay for fame. Spurling's weight ballooned, he developed a sleeping disorder and a drug addiction. Bell's frustration with Spurling eventually turned violent, and their last gig in 2008 at the Marbella Ballring ended in an explosive fight. They haven't spoken since. Until now. That's where I come in. My name's Chris Gilbert and I'm their therapist, and I've realised the only way to resolve their issues is to get them back together and get them back on TV.
Bell and Spurling back together.
I ain't got a
Everyone's
problem.
happy.
I ain't got a problem. I live in a shed at the bottom of my mum's garden.
We get you boys back together. Think about this. Think
Yeah,
about
you do
this.
it.
Bell needs the money.
What do you mean Bell needs
He
the
needs
money?
the money.
He needs the money? He lives in a mansion.
Not anymore, mate.
Fact is, I've lost my house, I've lost my car, my wife's kicked me out now, and I really, really need this to work with Johnny.
It's Bell. All right.
Yeah, you alright?
Yeah, good.
You alright?
You look good. You look a bit away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So come in?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Alright, brilliant. Yeah, it's good to see you and everything.
It was an awkward reunion, but in no time at all, they were back in the studio.
Golden balls, Mr. Beckham to you.
Exactly.
Sven, Goran Eriksson. Do you know what? Me and him are getting on so well, like House on Fire again, like the old days, you know? You could reach the sky. Oh, hold your head up high.
That's it. I'm really enjoying being back with him, and you know, I don't know, I probably missed him, and we haven't had one argument, which is great, you know.
Golden ball.
In fact, John, can you just drop me in for the line before that? Just... John.
Sebastian Coe! Who wants that? It's Seb Coleman, the world's British showman. It's a great lyric.
What is that?
It's one of my best lyrics.
You can't put that in a song.
Why not?
Sebastian Coleman.
Why?
Because it means
What are you
nothing.
talking about?
He's a nightmare though, isn't he?
Johnny's not that bad, Ted, is he?
No, I'm not talking about Johnny, I'm talking about Bill. Bill's the fucking lunatic of the two.
You see what I have to deal with?
What do you mean? What do you have to do with?
What I have to deal with?
Are you fucking full of shit? Fucking ain't having it. Fuck the song. Fuck it.
They're so talented, but you can't rely on them.
I pulled some strings, and I've got them an appearance on the new Matt Lucas TV show. Reluctantly, Bell agrees to do it. Against all the odds, we made it onto the Matt Lucas TV show. Next stop, the Euros.
Ben and Spurling, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, wasn't that hilarious? I mean, I've been laughing tears about that. I mean, unbelievable. You two together, it's just like a magical combination.
Yeah, it is. There is fireworks, I have to say, because we are different, and you know, because we've done Spin and then we've done Golden Ball.
Well, first of all, visually, you're completely different. So that's funny to start with, and then you start with these monologues and things. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I think because when we signed to Warners, we signed to a guy called Steve Allen, who was our A&R man, who I absolutely loved. He'd done really well for us, and he was a bit of a guru for taking sort of catchy songs and making them number one. And he was very good at that. But I always felt that I wanted to prove to him that we were proper singers. We weren't just cheeky chappies writing funny songs about Sven-Göran Eriksson. So that's why we wrote Golden Ball, to try and create this big band, you know, sort of Mac the Knife. That's So I wrote Golden Balls. And I hadn't even played it to him, and Tarrant got it again and started playing it on the radio. And Steve Allen phones me up and says, "Is that right? That's you again?" And we said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, who did you get to sing it?" I said, "That's me and Johnny." Well, he said, "It can't be your voices." I said, "It's our voices." So then he signed us again. We got a second deal with Warners, and I think that's when I wanted us to be more serious, whereas Johnny Spurling wanted us to still stay in that sort of comedy role. And that's probably when we started to get a bit edgy. I was investing me money from the record deals and the publishing deals, and I wanted to be a bit more careful, and John wanted to go mad. John thought he was Ronnie Wood. You know, John's staying in hotels every night, smashing the place up. But that's why we're so different. But something about us, we always come back together. We have some terrible bust-ups, and we won't talk for a year. And then they reel us out every 2 years for the Euros or the World Cup. and some company will always phone up and say, "Can you come and do the Sven song, or can you rewrite the lyrics?"
Yeah.
Last time we did it as Gareth. And last time we had Betfred and Paddy Power got behind us. And so we get back together, and then we love each other again.
Yeah,
and we have a wonderful time. We don't come home for a couple of months, and we really enjoy ourselves. We make a few quid, and then we have a row again.
Listen, that's actually a healthy relationship. I've got one little funny, but it's not really a funny story. It's a true story about Johnny. Years and years ago, when I was living in Barkingside, I just had my house decorated, and I'd gone out and I bought all new furniture. And I bought this beautiful white sort of washed coffee table, real wood. And Johnny came round. I think he came round with Mitch to do some writing or something. And, you know, Johnny's puffing away on his cigarette. And I says to him, whatever you do, do not put no cigarette on my new white table. That was just delivered this morning. I've gone in the kitchen to make them teas and coffees and whatnot. When I've come back in, Johnny's fag is on the edge of the table. And as I've looked, he's burnt my frigging table. Well, I went mad. I said, get out my house. You know, I went mad. He burnt my table, my brand new coffee table.
There's probably 50 people that I could relate to. Like, I could tell you stories about 50 people where he left fags. I just bought a new Jag, and he doesn't know nothing about cars, John. He doesn't care about cars. And he got in the Jag, and we were driving along, and he said, can I smoke? I said, please don't smoke, John. It's a new car. Anyway, please let me smoke. Okay, so smoke. And I remember him throwing the fag out the window. It obviously never ever got out the window. The next day, I looked in the back, and it had landed in the back little ledge thing, and it burnt a whole in the ledge. But I could tell
That's Johnny. That's Johnny.
A million where we used to check into hotels, and we're doing a gig the night before, and they've paid for the hotel, and we're leaving, and they're saying, sorry, you're going to have to pay. The whole carpet's burnt, the bed's burnt, the sofa's burnt. I'm going, what have you done to the room?
One day he's going to, what's that, human combustion or something? One day he'll burn himself. Silverstorm Media PR. We are specialists in online PR. For artists, for your music, for businesses, for your product. If you would like to talk to us about any of these things, please contact Silverstorm Media. You can email ssm.pr@hotmail.com or call us on 07919 954 636.
Yeah, well, it's honestly we have had at the time. I think, like I said, I was trying to be serious going through that period of time. You're going into meetings at Warner's and you're thinking, this is it. You know, we've cracked it. We did Top of the Pops twice with both singles, and you think this is serious time, and you want to crack on. But there's some of the funniest stories around that as to why we didn't crack on. I am devastated. Listen, something might happen again soon. Who knows? But at the time,
will, because you're going to be singing on. You're going to be singing, I believe, on the new Classics album that's coming out.
Yes. Yep. We're going to do that. Yep.
Yeah, good. So that's something to look forward to. So go on, carry on.
I mean, strangely enough, talking about Top of the Pops, the first time we did it was Sven. We were so lucky to be asked to do it. We got the phone call. We were at Capital Radio doing a live interview with Mick Brown, and we'd done Lorraine Kelly's show that morning, and then we'd gone somewhere else to do an interview for ITV, and we went into Capital to do a Mick Brown thing. And literally, the planes went into the tower. It was 9/11.
Oh.
And whilst we were in a break, I got a phone call from Chris Page, who's a big PR man, Elton John's guy, and he said, "Top of the Pops want you next week." And it's the greatest phone call that you can ever take. Top of the Pops want you next week, and in that period of time, the planes have gone into the building. It's what you've wanted all your life, and something like that. And
unbelievable.
It was such an odd period of time, and our pre-sales were 2-1 for us to go to number one that week. I I think was going to even knock Bob the Builder off of number one. And then Kylie come out with the Kathy Dennis song, so that was going to be number one. So our pre-sales were more than both of them, and of course Warner's had to pull the record out. Who wants to listen to a funny record?
No, exactly. Exactly.
Through that. So we were out for about 6 weeks, and then we went back in the charts. But Top of the Pops said, "We still want you," which was great for us.
Of course.
You know, but the second time when we did it with Golden Balls, John was in one of his mad states. You know, he he turned up, and he wasn't in the best frame of mind that day. And there was David Bowie there, Shakira, and John was he wasn't himself. But I look back on it and say
it's all part of your history, isn't it? It's memories, it's history. So let's talk about, you talk about being a serious singer. You are a serious singer, believe me, I know you are. I've heard you. I've heard many recordings, and I've also seen, well, you actually came to Spain once and sang in my bar.
Yes, yeah. I love doing the Spain gigs.
Yeah, it's great.
We spent so much time down in Marbella on that coast doing all those places, and then we did the Bullring supporting Madness, which was a wonderful gig for us. But I loved it down there, and myself and Johnny going down there to sing was different as a unit. The two of us doing it was something a bit different. And do you know what? I miss those days. I really do. Yeah. I think a lot of those gigs that used to be about. There was a lot of gigs. Can you fly over to Spain, do 3 weeks? Can you go to Italy? We've done quite a few in Lake Como, a lot in Mallorca, tons in Mallorca. Can you come and do one on a boat? All those I used to absolutely love it, but they just don't seem to be around anymore. They're not as much.
No, they're not. They're not. Work. There isn't as much work, and also as well, they're not paying as much as they used to.
Agreed.
They're not paying as much, and and there's an old saying: if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And that's basically what's happened all over the Costas. They're getting monkeys to perform because they're paying peanuts.
Do you think, though, I've done a thing with Rick Astley in the last couple of weeks, and I was sort of saying to him, Rick's a great singer, and I said that, do you feel that singing has been diluted because of the talent shows? It seems like everyone's a singer now. Everyone can produce records.
I think, Martin, it's about not just talent shows. Obviously, they play a big part in it, but I think it's reality TV.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it's in general across the board. I mean, some of these shows, which I won't mention, they're making stars. They're making celebrity stars out of some of these shows of people who haven't got an ounce of talent. Let's be fair, or have done their apprenticeships like you and I have done. So for me, it's reality shows in general. That's what it is.
No, I agree. It's quite strange. I was the first one to sign a contract to do Towie, and it's the maddest story. The only reason why I got involved because they said they needed a theme tune, so I thought, great, I'll say I'm going to do it, and I'll write the theme tune, and that's how I'll get my money out of it. And they had just built the house, and they said, we're going to film at your house, so they started filming the family. There was only me and Mark Wright who had signed to do it, and I did the pilot. I did about 3 or 4 days, and they were in the house for 10 hours and did not stop filming. My wife said to me, "Do you seriously want to do this?" And I thought, maybe I don't. She said it's just going to make you look stupid. And then the first episode, when there was everybody in it, all the locals in the sort of Essex area, all my mates were saying, "You are so lucky you never done that because they're all stupid."
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
They're all making a load of money. They're all making
exactly my point.
See.
Listen, what I want to do now is I want to play for our people who are watching. Martin sent me a little clip of him singing a beautiful song, so that you all know that he's not just Bell and Spurling all comedy. Martin is a real serious singer. So let's watch this. Enjoy.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. I would never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. There's no doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, I go crawling down the avenue. There ain't nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love.
That was unbelievable. I mean, you're such a great singer, Martin. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm sure everybody else did who was watching.
Well,
When did you
appreciate
record
it.
that?
You
In
know,
lockdown?
I'd done it in lockdown because everyone was doing these lockdown videos, and I
Yeah,
was,
I know.
I was in the garden getting drunk, and I just thought I'd done it, and I was getting so many messages saying, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?" And I just thought, "Oh, I can't be bothered." And so I recorded. I thought actually that's quite a nice song. I'd sung it pre-lockdown. I'd sung it at a gig. Somebody asked me to do it, and so I thought I'd just do that one. And then I just left it there. I didn't want to go and do, people doing live gigs.
I know.
Turning up in the street and singing. I just can't do it. I don't know why I can't do it, but until I can go back, get the band
Properly.
with me.
You want to go back, do it properly.
Do it properly. But I've done that one, and it was a nice reaction.
It's beautiful.
It's a nice.
I'm sure everyone enjoyed it. Listen, our time is running out. So before we say thank yous and goodbyes, what's coming up in the future? Hopefully, please God, when all this pandemic is done.
Strangely, I'd had this radio show. Kelvin McKenzie launched this radio show called Love Sport, which is a spin-off of Talk Sport. So myself and Johnny had got on there, and we had our own show. John didn't do the second year. I did the second year and absolutely loved it. Had a lot of good guests on with me, and it was purely talking for sort of 3-4 hours a day. And I didn't have to do sport all day. I could do entertainment and music and stuff. And because of lockdown, they've lost millions, and the radio station has had to fold.
Awful.
So it's bad, but it's something I really loved off the side of the music. And I'm hoping there's a few radio stations that I've been talking to and might get back on there. And I enjoyed the routine of going into London and sitting with the producers and knowing what's going to come up today, And I had Harry Redknapp on with me for a bit, and Martin Kemp, and then I had Yuri Geller on with me one day. It was hilarious, just great, something different to what we were doing. So I'm hoping that will come back, and I've actually got lots and lots of gigs booked up from April onwards. But I just, please God, they happen. And obviously, if the Euros come back this year, myself and Johnny, they'll reel us out, and we'll probably get back together and have a good time again.
Well, Martin, that is absolutely wonderful. I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you, and I know everybody's going to enjoy watching this show. It's been a really special one. I just want to finally say, all I can say to you is thank you. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for being in. Yeah, exactly. That's what this show's about. That's why it's called Let's Talk. We talk freely about how we feel and what's going on. Martin, thank you. See you soon. Thank you everyone for watching. Good night.
Silverstorm Media TV. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Silverstorm Media TV. Let's talk.